Good evening and welcome to another in the series of My Career, My Calling. This is Stephanie Fletcher-Lartey, your host, and I am really excited about our program this evening. You are listening to us live on Down on the Radio for another amazing evening lined up for you. And I just want to say hello to all our listeners out there in cyberspace, those who are listening to us on Down on the Radio Live on Facebook. Thanks for joining us today. And it's going to be an awesome evening. Yes, so this week we've got another exciting program lined up in our series of programs on My Career, My Calling. For those of you who joined us last week, I am sure that you can agree that we had a really good time together. And today I am really expecting us to have another great evening together. Last week we introduced the program. We talked about the reason why we are doing this program and what we hope to achieve and what is in it for you. And so we're encouraging you to invite your friends, your neighbors, your workmates, your partners, your friends and relatives to join us here live on Down on the Radio. Here we have Rainbow with Don't Give Up Now. Yes, our aim on this program is to help each other to grow, to mature, to understand, to get a better grasp of what the Australian workplace is and how we as a community, how we as migrants, how we can share our experiences with each other and help each other to find our place, to find our feet, to really be able to pursue our career of choice, to really respond and to fulfill our calling. And we are really looking forward to sharing these evenings and these sessions with you all. And so we invite you to tune in every week for our exciting discussions, our tips and pointers about working in Australia. And we do hope that some of this information will be really useful to you. Now, I just want to give our disclaimer up front. While we will be talking about some of the issues that are specific to migrants, and we may touch on issues around visas and so on from time to time, we are not a migration service and we do not have legal authority to provide migration advice, but what we can provide is our own experiences. We will from time to time find information from publicly available sources and we will share that with you. So stay tuned today and we're really looking forward to a great time. Now, before I go ahead, I just wanted to say that this program is sponsored by iCare Community Services. iCare Community Services is a growing NGO located in Liverpool, New South Wales, and iCare provides a range of services to our communities. One of the programs is they provide disability support services to persons registered with the National Disability Insurance Scheme. iCare also runs a job readiness program, and this broadcast is an extension of that program. And feel free to go online and see what iCare is doing, some of the great stuff at www.icareservices.org.au. So iCare Community Services has been running a job readiness program for about 4 years now. And this program really aims at helping Australians who have been struggling to get back into the workplace. A lot of people have been out of work for quite some time. And some of you who are listening, you may actually understand that if you've been outside of the workplace for an extended period of time, it can be quite difficult to get back into the workplace. It can be really challenging to find the confidence that you need to take on a new role or to work with new people. Some people have actually lost their skills. And that's for people who are born and raised in Australia. It's even more difficult for people who are migrating from a different language background, completely different cultural context. And so a lot of people, not just local people, migrants also really struggle at times to really find their feet and to successfully grow in their careers. And the government of Australia has identified this as one of their priority areas that they are actually putting their resources behind. And so we are very, very pleased that we are able to bring you this program. And we just hope that you can take something away from it, something positive and something that can help you or a friend of yours or someone you know. Remember, you can call us on Skype for now using at Down on the Radio on Skype. You can also send us your questions via Down on the Radio on Facebook, and we will try our best to answer them in our live broadcast. Now, I've got a guest joining us in a few minutes, but before they do, I just wanted to share a little bit of information about working in Australia. Now, as a migrant, when I came to Australia, and pretty much almost anyone who comes to Australia, there are a few prerequisites that you need in order to work in the Australian workplace. And to be able to work in Australia, you have to be a citizen or a permanent resident or hold an appropriate visa with the right to work in Australia. And these conditions would be written on whatever visa you receive to enter Australia. So a lot of people migrate to Australia to work, and Australia has some really great programs to encourage migrants to come to work in Australia. And the visa subclass 457 and the skill independent visa subclass 189 were some of the very common visas that people used to obtain to be able to work in Australia. And if you need information about what visa you need or what visa you can choose, you can go to www.border.gov.au to find the appropriate visa. So you need an appropriate visa or a right to work, which is either your citizenship, your residency status, or a working visa. And you must have a tax file number. So all people who work in Australia require a tax file number, because all Australian workers are required to pay tax to fund the programs and services that operate our schools, our roads, or the public services. And the amount of tax people pay will depend on how much you earn and several other things. And information about tax is available from the Australian Taxation Office. So you also need a tax file. So you need a tax file number. You need a bank account, because most organizations in Australia will pay you directly into your bank account. I reckon very few people do cash in hand, and some trades or skilled day workers may still get cash in hand. Some of the other requirements that you may be asked for might be a criminal record check, depending on what type of work you will be doing or what sector you'll be working in. Could be a criminal record check or a police record. If you're working with vulnerable people, children, adults with disability in aged care sectors, child care, and several other industries, you will need a working with children check. Or there's another one that you require some kind of certification for working with vulnerable people. If you're working in certain sectors like the health department or the Ministry of Health, you will need to meet certain health requirements such as vaccination or physical checks. And most employees will ask for a 100-point ID. And this might be a combination of a photo ID and another kind of identification that identifies where you live, or something, your birth certificate, your passport, your medical card, or something like that. And depending on which industry you're working in, they will require some kind of industry certification, or what qualification do you have or license that enables you to work in these in these industries. And so in a nutshell, these are some of the things that you would need up front in working in an Australian setting. So people just coming to Australia, before you even look for a job, the first thing you need to do is to get some of these sorted. Ensure you've got a copy of your visa, apply for a tax file number, ensure you have an appropriate identification. And one thing that I wanted to share before I open the lines to callers is that in each state, you can actually apply for a photo ID. I was in Australia for about 3 years before I found out that I could actually get a photo ID from my state. And I was using my driver's license from back home when I just got here. But sometimes some people don't recognize your your overseas driver's license for whatever reason. And somebody actually told me that, oh, you can actually go to the service center and apply for a New South Wales ID. And that was amazing. So I went and got an ID, which basically I had an Australian identification card. So these are some things that a lot of people don't know. So you can go to your service center or the equivalent in whatever state you are and apply for an identification card, which is almost similar to a driver's license. So it will have an ID number, your date of birth, and so on in your signature, except that you can't drive with it. So these are some tips, and I will continue if there's time to give you a few more tips on some of the prerequisites for the workplace. So yeah, there you have it. Yes, we have been having a really great and really enlightening conversation with Anna Morris, a British Jamaican who has migrated to Australia several years now and has been making strides in the workplace as a social worker. And we've just been sharing experiences, and Anna has been telling us about her transition from England to Australia and just sharing some of her own experiences around the transition process and having been able to come to Australia firstly as a sponsored worker, but then having to find a job for herself in a different area and some of the different experiences with that. And that's been really great having Anna on the program with us this evening. Yes, so Anna, as we said, we've had some positive experiences as well. While it can be really challenging to get our feet off the ground, it is indeed an awesome place to work. I'm sure you would agree. It is a great place to work. And from Anna, you're a businesswoman as well. And if you don't mind me just maybe taking the next 2 minutes before we wrap up this section, just to talk about, because a lot of people too want to do business. A lot of people want to break out into entrepreneurial area. They want to do their own business, and sometimes that can be so daunting for many people. And have you got any experience that you'd like to share, or anything that you want to touch on from a business perspective? From your experiences. Well, what do you know? We've just got 2 minutes left in the program, but it has been a very wonderful evening here on My Career, My Calling. As we said before, these in the series, we hope to be able to share some experiences, provide some information to help particularly migrants who are struggling to find their feet in the workplace. And we hope that we will be able to make this relevant to you, our listeners, that we will be able to provide information that is useful, that can help you to integrate, to succeed, to find your feet, and to really be the best you in the workplace. To take us out this evening, I just want to leave a word of encouragement with you. This is Don't Give Up by yours truly. You have been listening to My Career, My Calling on Down Under Radio. Yes, don't give up. Whatever your chosen career, whatever field that you aspire to enter into, whatever you choose to do, don't give up. Don't be discouraged. It's really important to continue to press on, follow your dreams, to continue to look for that path that has been laid before you. And we hope that through these programs, we will be able to provide some information that can help you to discover the path to success in the Australian workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been My Career, My Calling on...
Don't give up, my child, don't give up. He will come through. Finish the journey you have started. Don't give up. Let His word be a lamp unto your feet.
I just want to say a big thank you to all our listeners out there on Facebook,